Days into a provincial pilot project for the AstraZeneca vaccine, we check in with local pharmacies to see how vaccinating is going for those 60 to 64. Windsor-Essex has been living in a pandemic for a year. Tonight, we take a look back at the difficult times we've come through and the triumphs that keep us going. A sunny weekend for sure, but some brisk wind. We're hovering around zero right now, and there's potential for flurries. Nick Sirkovich brings the details tonight. I'm Chris Ensing. Thanks for joining us. An outbreak has been declared at the South West Detention Centre, the health unit making the call today. Our Jacob Barker has been following this. He joins us now live. What do we know about this outbreak, Jacob?
Well, Chris, there are at least 4 cases of COVID-19 among inmates at the facility. That's according to numbers released from the province last Thursday, the most recent that they'll share with us. Well, there have been 9 total resolved cases at the facility during the pandemic so far. This is the first time the health unit has declared it an outbreak. The Ministry of the Solicitor General says it is aware of the outbreak and each facility has its own pandemic plan. It says in this case, any inmates that are admitted are screened and tested with their consent. They are also kept in a separate area upon intake for 14 days, and any inmate that tests positive would be isolated from the rest of the population while they receive appropriate medical care. Now, we did ask for more information from the health unit about the outbreak, but it says it will not provide any further updates on it due to privacy and confidentiality.
Jacob, you've been reporting on the death of an inmate, now an outbreak. How are people inside that facility feeling?
Well, Chris, obviously we can't speak with those inside the detention center, but I spoke with Lisa Dennis. Her son Eric is being held at the facility. She raised her concerns last week about the care he received at the jail after an inmate died of a suspected fentanyl overdose at the facility. Eric also overdosed on the drug recently there, but survived. She says she hadn't heard anything from the jail about the outbreak, but considering what happened with her son, she's concerned about how they might be treating COVID.
Again, you'd think that it would be a safe place, like they don't want to bring it into the jail, so I'm assuming that the guards and whatnot are always tested because they're on with these people. And even in an old folks home, anywhere that there's people consolidated like that, you have to take extra precautions. And I don't think they are.
Now, Dennis is also continuing to ask questions about how her son got drugs in the facility. She says she doesn't know how he got them, but something has to be done about it. Chris.
Thanks, Jacob. CBC's Jacob Barker live tonight. Windsor-Essex is reporting 8 new cases of COVID-19 today. Another woman in her 80s has died. Now, in addition to the outbreak at the South West Detention Centre, 14 other active outbreaks are in the community as of this morning. The Salvation Army outbreak, that's over. Their shelter services are now open, and they say that they are taking in people who've recovered from the Isolation and Recovery Centre, as well as the temporary shelter. Next week, seniors 80 and older will be able to get COVID-19 vaccines in 2 other locations. The health unit says the Sportsplex and Windsor Hall, that's the former Windsor Star building, will start giving out doses. Meanwhile, today the province released its own booking system, but you'll still need to use our local website for appointments.
To date, over 15,000 people over the age of 80 years of age have pre-registered. If you access the provincial system, it will direct you to our local site.
And this here is what it looks like when you get on the province's site. Premier Doug Ford says Ontario is ready to book as many as 800,000 appointments for those seniors who qualify. The province says if all goes as planned, those 75 and up could start getting vaccinations in early April. So far, more than 44,000 doses have been administered in the Windsor-Essex region. It's been a year since a global pandemic put all of our lives in turmoil. Here in Windsor, the first case of COVID-19 came 1 year ago this week. Now, from the opening of the field hospital to the outbreaks at seniors' homes, there have been many significant markers, but there were some brighter moments too. CBC's Sanjay Maru takes a look back at the past year in our region.
March 18th, that's when those recreational trips to Detroit are put to a stop. The Canada-US border closed for non-essential travel. Just 2 days later, the region's first case of COVID-19 is confirmed.
As we are preparing for the return of March break travelers, we like to strongly urge all residents to practice social distancing.
The city declaring a state of emergency that same day. A little more than a week later, transit services are suspended to help curb the spread of COVID-19. 3 days later, the region's first COVID-related death. The St. Clair College Sportsplex opens up April 18th after being transformed into a field hospital.
Their backgrounds, their medications, their likes, dislikes, their personal history. So we have all that information already in place.
May 30th, the death of a migrant worker due to COVID-19. Less than a week later, the virus takes another worker. The latter will be the youngest person to die of COVID-19 in Windsor-Essex.
I feel sad for them and for their families. They come here leaving everybody behind, and they're brave men to come and work the best they can. They're very hard workers, all of them.
The health unit's mask mandate for businesses goes into effect June 26th.
As small businesses, we are the backbone of our community in which we live, raise families, and work. We have the best interests of our community at heart.
The following day, a greenhouse is shut down due to a staggering 191 cases of COVID-19 in just one weekend.
10 to 20 men in one house, 6 men in one bedroom, 10 men sharing one washroom. That is disgusting.
This fiasco has to end.
September 10th, that's when some students in Windsor-Essex return to school as they enter a new normal.
Hopefully everything goes well.
But it's just 5 days later when the first case of COVID-19 is confirmed in a Windsor-Essex school.
It's concerning. We don't know how she got this.
December 7th, 27-year-old Wang James becomes the youngest person in the community to die of COVID-19 in our region.
This death is difficult. I don't have any words to actually capture how I really feel.
The very next day, an outbreak is declared at the village at St. Clair. By the time it's over, more than 300 cases, more than 60 deaths. December 14th, the health unit's mandated school closure goes into effect. And then there's the region's move into the gray zone.
Customers had 2 days to get in here. They told me they felt safer coming into my store than they would into a big box store.
I don't see a single Costco doing track tracing at the door with phone numbers and thermometer checks.
Just 2 days later, a grim milestone for the region.
Windsor-Essex has passed a COVID-19 case count that the health unit never thought would happen. As of this morning, 5,000 people have tested positive for the virus.
But there's a glimmer of hope December 22nd, when the first vaccinations take place in Windsor-Essex.
It's actually a little overwhelming.
January 13th, the region hits an all-time high in its daily case count. 288 new cases, pushing Windsor-Essex beyond 10,000 total cases, pushing ICU capacity to its limit.
I wish people in the community could literally walk in my shoes and see what I see.
The very next day, Ontario's stay-at-home order goes into effect.
I'm fully understanding of the situation, and of course it's very disappointing.
You guys are going to school on Monday.
Remember the health unit's mandated school closure? That's lifted on February 8th. 3 days later, the first case of a COVID-19 variant is confirmed in Windsor-Essex.
Well, I think it was a matter of time as we see that these variants are appearing in different parts of Ontario.
As of February 15th, non-essential travelers looking to get back into Canada must now come to the border with proof of a recent COVID-19 test.
I'm actually surprised they lifted it. I thought it would be a little bit longer than what it is.
The very next day, the province's stay-at-home order is lifted.
We don't know what's going to happen next, right?
Get it while you can.
That's right, exactly.
We've been faced with grim news day after day, but we can't forget the bright sparks that this pandemic produced. Communities rallying around their friends who got home after months of being in the hospital due to COVID. Drivers here in the automotive capital of Canada putting cruises together for people who had to spend their birthdays in isolation. And who could forget one of Windsor's biggest events, adapting to the new normal, letting moviegoers watch their favorite films under the stars. Now, with vaccinations underway.
1, 2, and 3. Bring it on. My wife's a healthcare worker. She said the same thing. Get it. Everybody, get it.
A post-pandemic world may be just around the corner. Sanjay Maru, CBC News, Windsor.
Quite the look back at a historic year. Some pharmacies say vaccine hesitancy is making it more difficult for them to give out doses of that COVID-19 vaccine.
I find it almost, scary that we're having to almost beg, patients to come and get vaccinated, not realizing that the dangers of the virus are significantly higher than the risks associated with the AstraZeneca vaccine.
Medica Pharmacy is among the 33 in Windsor giving out doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine for people who are 60 to 64. The pharmacy says it's received many calls from eligible candidates that are concerned about the safety of the vaccine. It's resulted in about a 25% cancellation rate, with many bookings not being filled for the end of this week. Medica says to fill those spots, the pharmacy may accept more appointments from people outside of Windsor. Other pharmacies getting the same questions about the vaccine, but say as of now, distribution's been going at a rapid pace. They aim to give out all 500 of their doses by the end of next week. And Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was asked what he would say to Canadians who are hesitant about getting that AstraZeneca dose.
Health Canada and our experts and scientists have spent an awful lot of time making sure that every vaccine approved in Canada is both safe and effective. Therefore, the best vaccine for you to take is the very first one that is offered to you. That is how we get through this as quickly as possible and as safely as possible.
Health Canada has recommended AstraZeneca for anyone over the age of 18, and CBC News has learned from several sources and finalized documents obtained by CBC that Canada will change its recommendations on the vaccine and allow those over 65 to get it. Those details are set to be released tomorrow. A local teachers union is worried about staffing levels at the English school boards. The head of the Elementary Teachers Federation highlighted concerns around supports for students with special needs.
If certain measures are not taken place, we will have to do what other school boards have done in the province of Ontario and close schools because we don't have the staff in place to teach, to support our students with special needs. We're in a dire situation here.
A spokesperson for the Greater Essex County District School Board did not confirm a potential shortage, but says plans are in place if something needs to change. The English Catholic Board says it is not having any issues with staff. A fire was intentionally set in Windsor every day last week, 9 fires over 7 days, mostly in the city's core. Let's take a look at where these are mapped out. The first was last Sunday on Bridge Avenue. No one home, $150,000 in damage. The next day, someone was charged for allegedly setting fire to the hotel room. And last Tuesday, there were a series of intentionally set fires. First, a duplex on Church. A person has been charged in connection with that. And then there was a pair of fires nearby in an alleyway. Police were in an investigation and found charred objects at the scene. The next day, there was a house on Elliott that was purposely set on fire, according to Windsor's fire department. And then on Thursday, police find a pile of cardboard that was set on fire on Victoria Avenue. Friday and into Saturday, there's another pair of fires, one on Jeanette. An arson investigation has been launched. And then there was another fire across town, and this one was at Midfield. The police have arrested a man and charged him in connection with that fire. And now, as police continue to investigate the other fires, they said in a press release, quote, "At this time, each fire is being investigated individually. However, officers are reviewing the evidence from each case to determine if any of the incidents may be related." A billboard in Windsor is raising some eyebrows. The ad was put up by a nonprofit called Windsor Women Working with Immigrant Women. It shows a smiling man with his arms crossed standing next to an offer for employment, help, or job training. Some are questioning the image and how it squares with the organization's name and mandate.
I do not see in that photograph Windsor Women Working with Immigrant Women. That does not speak to me. And I understand that they are also assisting families. But it's not like, we've solved all the problems for immigrant women and now we can expand to make sure that there's, parity. I'm not really sure what is happening.
The head of W5's Employment Services says its mission is to help women who are new to Canada and their families, but despite its name, the majority of the organization's programs serve all genders. Making sure everyone knows that they can access services has been a struggle in the past. So one goal of the billboard showing a man was to help get that word out. Now, they have 2 other ads running right now as well, both of which show women. The organization says concerns and confusions raised about the ads will be taken into consideration in the future. Our live look outside here as we see some of the emptier streets in downtown Windsor. A little cold today, the wind blowing that flag around a little bit, and there's a chance of rain, a chance of flurries, a chance of a lot of mess coming up. Nick Sirkovich will break it down next. The images of British police breaking up a weekend vigil for a murdered woman in London has touched a nerve for many. It's triggered a debate about the heavy-handed policing used while trying to restrict the gathering during the pandemic. It's also fueling anger, the issue of how the 33-year-old woman was killed. A police officer has been charged with her kidnapping and murder. CBC's Tessa Arcilia has more from the scene of the vigil in South London.
This has become a memorial for Sarah Everard, the woman who was killed while she was walking home one evening in South London. People come here to lay flowers and pay their respects. There is growing anger, mostly directed at the police for the way they handled that Saturday night vigil, many saying it was a heavy-handed response.
The focus of the conversation again went to the police, and I don't think that's the focus of the conversation. It should be about how do we change behaviours within society that make women fearful to walk home, and to stop domestic violence and all these questions.
I think it's absolutely disgusting, but we get it. It's a female problem and it's a police problem. It's not a colour thing. But obviously for us, especially after what just happened in the summer, we're just seeing it again and again and again.
I know COVID has to be taken into consideration, but I think the police and the way they handled it incited violence. I think as predominantly a female vigil, it was very intimidating.
Prime Minister Boris Johnson said he saw the footage of clashes between the police and the women, and he found it very distressing.
Well, I was very concerned about the images that I saw, and so yesterday morning I talked to Cressida Dick, the Commissioner of the Metropolis, and we agreed that we'd look at it.
There have been calls for the police chief to resign, but she said she won't, and she defended the police's actions, saying they were simply doing their jobs, and it is hard to enforce rules, especially when there are still COVID restrictions. Now, the Prime Minister says he still fully supports her, but there will be an independent review on what could have been done better and how to better protect women. Now, this has become a bigger conversation, a bigger story than just Sarah Everard's case. It is now a question of what changes can be done in society, in government, and with the police to make women feel safer on the streets. Tessa Arcilia, CBC News, London.
Beijing is dealing with one of the worst sandstorms in a decade. The city and several northern provinces in China are living in that right now. Heavy winds have been kicking up sand and dust, causing poor visibility over a wide swath of the country. Drivers, they're being warned to take extra caution when hitting the road. More than 400 flights out of Beijing's two main airports have been canceled. And Nick Sergovich joins us now with a look at the weather. This weekend, it kind of seemed like that perfect spring temperature where the sun is hitting you in the car, so you roll down the windows, but then you turn the heat up because it's still a little too cold for that.
Yeah, you get hit by the cold air, right?
Exactly, yeah.
I know. Well, you know, last week, I will admit, I was one of the people that was out in shorts and a T-shirt, at least for one day. Today, the sun fooled you, if it did, like me, and you go outside and, well, yeah, it's cold. But you know what? Today's actually going to be the coldest of the days this week. Temperatures are warming up. We're sitting at -1 degrees right now in the Windsor area. Winds, though, making it feel a little bit cooler than that. As we head through the overnight period tonight, though, we're not going to see temperatures drop too much, and that's because of this. This is actually a push of warm air that's moving in. We're just starting to see the cloud cover move across southwestern Ontario. Part of a larger system here, and there is warm air in behind it, so we're actually going to see some warmer temperatures as we head through tomorrow. Forecast-wise, it looks like this. Cloud cover moves across. Overnight tonight, though, look for mixed precipitation as temperatures hover close to or just below the 0 mark. That'll make for some icy roads, especially for the morning commute for some areas out toward London in particular. But that's what we're looking at through tonight. Then as we head through tomorrow morning, it starts to break up. A few light rain showers down in southwestern Ontario. Still mixed precipitation, though, toward the London area. The whole thing kind of pushes eastward. Dry by the afternoon, but cloudy. And then as we head through Wednesday, that's when things start to break up. Start to see the sunshine through the mid-morning hours, and then it clears up. So we head through Wednesday afternoon. Winds, again, a bit of a factor here. Gusts up to about 40 kilometers per hour. It continues through tonight, and then they ease off by tomorrow afternoon. So still breezy through the overnight period tonight, or at least through the evening hours tonight, in the later evening hours. 0 is the low for tonight in Windsor. Temperatures hovering right around that 0 mark. So again, watch for icy roads through the overnight as this system begins to push through. Tomorrow, rain showers, but again, this is a morning event. It really kind of clears out by the afternoon. Earlier in Windsor, and then later on as you head further east. Wind still about 20 kilometers per hour, but again, easing as we head through the day. Forecast looks like this, 7 degrees for tomorrow. And again, those rain showers starting to clear out. We get some sunshine in there on Wednesday, highs to 10 degrees. 9 on Thursday. Another system pushes through. This one starts to kind of fizzle out, a few rain showers, but a nice way to end the week. And as promised, today was the coldest day of the week.
No, and with Wednesday there to circle, we got something to look forward to. This is nice.
That's right.
Thanks, Nick.
You bet.
Old MacDonald had a farm, and now he likes to sing to his chickens. It brought viral fame, and we're going to show you that next. Russell Lowen's career started small, singing to an audience of chickens to entertain grandchildren living in the U.S. and Europe. But when his family started sharing those videos online, the 61-year-old farmer became Grandpa Russ to a lot more people. Videographer Eliza Soleil paid him a visit at his home in Howden, Manitoba.
Hi, it's Grandpa Russ here with Henny Penny on a warm summer eve in a coop somewhere in Howden. I met up with a chicken. We were both too tired to sleep.
Hey, I'm Russ, Grandpa Russ to my grandkids and a lot of people.
Window at the darkness, boredom overtook us. She began to peep.
Oh, that started a couple years ago, actually. We had my daughter from Germany here with her two young kids. And they came, and of course we had the farm, and they stayed till fall, I think. And after fall, of course, we missed them dearly. They went back to Germany. And I just decided that we'd start singing songs and just sending them on to them.
Baba, black sheep, have you any wool?
I started doing almost exclusively kids' songs. I would sort of change the lyrics to make for chickens.
Grandpa had a little hen. Its feathers were red.
And then I guess I ran out of children's songs.
Then I saw your face. Now I'm a believer.
Some of my friends have said I should stick with bluegrass because it lends itself well to someone that can't sing that well. The stars of our show are Henny Penny. Of course, the morning jabber cackle choir, which is the hens, and sometimes they can really cackle loud. I'm not 100% joyful all the time, but when I'm in the chicken coop and I'm with the chickens, I'm happier, and I'm enjoying doing the songs.
You never count your eggs when you're sitting in the laying box. There'll be time enough for counting when the laying's done.
Nice, beautiful tribute. You notice the guitar there, but you don't see any percussion, but I guess that's because you don't want to bring any drumsticks. It's not good. That's it for us here at CBC Windsor News. For more, you can go to our website, cbc.ca/Windsor. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where you can tell me how bad these jokes are. The Rick Mercer Report is up next. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.